Okay, hi everyone. My name is Dan Bromberg. I'm the Director of Academic Programs for the Carsey School of Public Policy. And we want to welcome you to our webinar today. This is going to cover all three of our academic programs and the Carsey School more generally. We're thrilled that you're able to join us. And obviously, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask us. To just show you around Zoom a little bit for those of you that are unfamiliar. Typically at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a Q&A, and you're also going to see a chat room. You could post any questions that you have in that question and answer box, and in the chat room, if you have any comments, you can make those as well. We will manage those comments and questions, and we'll address them towards the end. I'm joined by two of my colleagues who are going to help us manage those questions. So ideally, I'll be able to get to all of them during the presentation, but if you have any remaining, please feel free to ask. It should take me about 10 minutes or so to get through the presentation, and then we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. And if anything else pops up after the presentation, you're more than welcome to use any of our contact information and reach out to us. So let me get started here. So the Carsey School for Public Policy. Why the Carsey School? Why look at the Carsey School? And why consider our master's degrees? The Carsey School is actually has a bit longer of a history than when we were just a school. We were the Carsey Institute, which was a research and engagement institute. So all of that research is still taking place at Carsey. All of that research, we have vulnerable families, we have demography, we have a center that does community development finance. We have New Hampshire Listens, which does outreach and engagement, arranging conversations across the state on challenging issues, encouraging equity and diversity and inclusion in a number of different instances. So the Carsey School really is much more than simply our academic programs, and our students have access to all of those aspects of Carsey, which makes it a much more enriching experience than simply going to an academic program and then finding your way out the door. Ideally, we encourage our students to engage with our researchers through a number of different opportunities. So the benefits of a master's degree just in general, there are any number of benefits, right? And all of you need to kind of figure out what it is for yourself that you want to get out of it. So obviously it's a credential, right? So having that credential can help with your career, right? It can help with, the promotion that you may be looking for. It could also just give you that knowledge and skill set that you're looking for. For those of you that are looking for more applied experiences, each of our programs require different experiential learning, so it provides you with that hands-on experience as well. We offer three programs, three graduate programs. We have a Master in Public Policy, we have a Master of Public Administration, and we have a Master of Community Development. Each of them offers different skill sets towards serving the public, right? And each of them, we like to say these are public service degrees, but they're each touching on something slightly different. And the skill sets that you develop in each of those programs really are unique to those programs, yet they complement one another. And there are ways that our students take classes in each of those programs as well, which I'm happy to discuss. So first, let me talk about the Masters in Public Policy. This degree offers a couple different tracks, right? There's a strategy and communications track, or there's a policy analysis track. And what that allows you to do is focus in on one of those areas. The strategy and communications track is something that we really like to highlight. It's something that we think most programs are not doing terribly well. And it steps beyond just the typical, I know how to crunch those numbers, I know how to do policy analysis, to the point where not only do you know how to do policy analysis, but you know how to communicate that policy to have a real impact. You know how to work with stakeholders, you know how to work with advocates, you know how to work with policymakers to really make that change that you're hoping to make. Some of the highlights of the program include our DC Colloquium. That is a a 1 week long trip to DC, where our students go through about 25 meetings in 5 days. And they're meeting with the entire policy ecosystem in DC. We spend time at the Pentagon. We spend time with lobbyists. We spend time with communication people, with advocates, with government affairs professionals. We spend time in Congress and with our members of our delegation. So it truly does give an enriching experience across the policy spectrum. And our students get to engage in a pretty robust manner with all of these policymakers. We also require an internship and a capstone project, and both of those are the experiential portions of our program. And we could talk more about them if there are more questions there, but our students engage with practitioners in a pretty substantial manner, both in the internship and capstone project. Classes are typically offered in the daytime in Durham, and the program typically takes about 14 to 16 months to complete. The MPA program is a real combination of both theory analysis and practice. The courses typically take place in the evening, both online and in Manchester. So this truly is a hybrid program. You could probably complete 75% of the program online, and then the remaining classes you would complete in the evening, typically on our Manchester campus, but there are also opportunities to do that in Durham. The program takes students anywhere from 16 to 24 months, give or take, and students go at their own pace. So it really does vary. The Master's of Public Administration is geared towards that mid-career professional often that is looking for that next step in their career, and they're just getting ready to prepare themselves for that management role. There also is a capstone project in the MPA program. That is an extremely hands-on project, and the idea is that you're then applying the skills that you've learned throughout the duration of the program onto a real-life experience. And one more point about this program is just how enriching both that online and classroom experience is. The peers that you're in your courses with are also mid-career professionals, typically throughout the region, working at nonprofits, state government, local government, and some federal employees. So you really get a range of experiences and a range of perspectives in the classroom. Our Masters of Community Development also works with a lot of mid-career professionals. And this degree equally is a hybrid degree as well. So in a similar way, we try to gear it so it works for those who are working full time, but also gives you some exposure to the classroom. Starting in the summer, this current summer, we're actually going to be going entirely online. In some ways to address the COVID-19 pandemic at this point, but at the same point, we had been considering doing this for quite some time. So this move is actually quite natural for us. This program is typically 14 to 24 months, so either 1 or 2 years. You have a bit more of an intensive summer session, and then you're online during both the fall and spring academic semesters. The Capstone Project in the Masters in Community Development program is a unique experience. The Capstone Project starts essentially day one. That first class that you take, you start designing what a capstone project is. And then you continue that project through what we call our project series courses throughout the entirety of your program. And it really ends your last course, which we teach is program evaluation. And it's a look back on that project. You evaluate that project and you make a presentation to your peers and to your faculty as to the accomplishments of your project, but you're also learning throughout the entirety of it. So a unique format that I don't believe other programs use. Carsey School graduates have a range of careers. And I'll leave this up for a sec so you could take a look at some of our recent graduates. Everyone is engaged some way with their community, with government, with public service, the nonprofit sector, and really engaging in a really substantial manner. So just to give you a sense of where people are right now and the type of work that they're doing. So I'll briefly hit on the admissions process and then some tuition and funding issues. And then I'll just talk slightly more generally about each of those degrees so you get a sense of how they fit together. So admissions, right? Obviously, we're looking for transcripts. We're looking for a personal statement from students, letters of recommendation, a resume, while not always required. It is for our MCD program. It's helpful in our other programs. Test scores, right now our MPP does require test scores, but within the current environment, we have been waiving those requirements if needed. So if students are interested in the MPP and it's challenging to get that GRE done right now, please feel free to reach out and we'll work with you on that. And the TOEFL is required for international applicants. What I would say on this list is while you're thinking about, putting together your application, that personal statement is really an important piece of this. The personal statement, gives us a lot of information. It tells us about yourself a bit, right? Tells us what you're passionate about, why this degree works for you. But at the same time, it also shows us how well you write, right? And whether or not you're a strong writer, or if that's something that, we might need to focus on. So out of this entire list, I would say that personal statement really does play a big role in the application. Tuition and funding, these all range. And, we put these up here as parameters, mainly because, it's certainly helpful for students and potential students to see. But I want you to look at these and know that there are different ways that we help fund our students. We help finance our students. We have fellowships in the MPP and MCD program. We have credit waivers in the MPA program. And we have various partnerships in each of the programs that really help to offset both time and money that you're spending in the program. But these are general ranges for tuition. These are just a handful of our partners. So if you're affiliated with any of these organizations, there might be some opportunities that you want to look into on our pages and obviously talk to us about. We're happy to walk through all of them in more specific detail with you. But I know everyone comes from kind of a different place, so I won't spend too much time doing that right now. So here's our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to any one of us should you have any questions. And what I wanted to say is, the MPP, the Masters of Community Development, the Masters of Public Policy, and the Masters of Public Administration, sometimes it's challenging to navigate, which program is right for me. They all look like they touch on similar themes. They are all nuanced, though, and they are all different. So what I would encourage you to do is if you're interested in those degrees and you can't figure out which one really makes sense, reach out to us. Part of what we like to do is help students find that match, right? And find the fit in a program that really works for them. And as I mentioned earlier, we're happy to help you piece that together in a more nuanced way as well, right? If there are courses in that MPA program that look appealing, but you're really interested in the MPP, well, then we could work with you to put that together. And that's kind of the nice part of having 3 degrees under the same roof, that we're able to mix and match and really craft that degree that works for you. Our goal is to get our students a high quality education, but at the same time, we want to make sure that that education fits your needs. If it doesn't fit your needs, then it's really not worthwhile for you. So we try our best to not only provide you with that quality education, but to help fit your needs and help you get where you want to be in the future. So that's all I have as far as a presentation right now. So I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm happy to take some questions from anyone that may have them. And I'm going to invite my colleague, Robin Husslage, in to help us out while we're doing that.
Hi, Dan. Thanks very much. We do have a few questions here. One, it looks like says for the Capstone project, do you assign them or do students need to, connect with an organization to carry out their capstone, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it really goes both ways. We often have students who are already connected to an organization and they'd like to pursue their capstone with that organization. So in those instances, we let those students lead the way. That said, we have relationships with organizations certainly throughout the region. And more than that, we have international organizations that we work with. We have organizations in Washington, D.C. that we work with and in Boston that we work with. So if a student has a general idea of what they want to do, but they don't necessarily have an organization that they want to connect with, we help lead the way in those instances. So it really does work both ways.
Thank you, Dan. Another question is, can you give some examples of MPP internships and what's the difference between the internship and the capstone for the MPP program?
Yeah, great question. So internships, so some MPP internships, we've had students that have worked at various advocacy organizations. We've had students that have worked in various financial policy institutes or organizations. We have students that have done some DC internships. So they really range. We've had students that have done field-specific internships, so either health policy-related internships or education policy internships. And they range in shape and size from working, directly in the legislature and working on the staff of someone's team. So, for example, we have someone in our senator's office right now, Senator Maggie Hassan, doing an internship. And we have someone who is working in a smaller nonprofit advocacy role. So they do range. The main difference between an internship and a capstone, the internship really allows you to get exposure and experience within a policy field. So it is less about a specific project per se, and more just about that experience working within the policy world. The capstone project, on the other hand, really gives you an opportunity to put your skills to work and do a distinct project that has set kind of boundaries, right? So it has two bookends. And at the end, you have a deliverable, a product that you're either giving to that client, that organization, or a policy field you're contributing to really add value to either the field or the organization. So one is more project-based and one is certainly more of an ongoing experience and learning experience.
Thanks, Dan. This other question is about the MPA Capstone Experience, asking how long they last for, and are the same ones available every year, or do students, choose like an organization they want to work for, or could it be within their own organization?
Sure. So they typically last for about a semester. Some students get a running start. So let's say, next semester is September would be our fall start. Some students might get going in July and August just to get ready for that and ramp up. But the requirement is for a semester. Some of our capstones are ongoing in that we have relationships with organizations and they regularly request that we kind of have capstone students ready to go. Some of them are brand new. So if a student requests a capstone in an area where we haven't done one in the past, certainly that happens all the time. And can you do them at your own organization? By all means. The main thing that we ask if you're doing it at your own organization is it falls outside of your typical responsibilities, right? So we don't want you doing your job for our capstone. What we would say to you is, why don't you go chat with your supervisor, or why don't you go chat with, possibly a department manager outside of your department, and let's see if there's something we could craft out that is beyond your typical scope of duty. And in that way, you're building your skill set. You're still adding value to your own organization, and you're kind of testing out and experiencing different areas that you would otherwise not have.
Thanks, Dan. Another question is for programs that are geared towards working professionals like I am, how easy is it to juggle work and family and pursuing my graduate degree?
Yeah, great question. All of our programs have a different mix of working professionals in them. So I would say the MPA, the Masters of Public Administration, and the Masters of Community Development are primarily, and I would say upwards of 90%, working professionals in those programs. The MPP is slightly lopsided towards the other way, right? So more people that are going full-time and working part-time. Each of our programs recognizes that they are accessible and available for working professionals, and all of our faculty work really hard to make sure that our students are able to balance both, work, family, life, and school demands. And it's something, frankly, that we pride ourselves on. And that's why the hybrid nature of these programs, right, both the online and the in-classroom experiences, the timing of the classes, how we offer them, all of that is geared towards the idea of working professionals within our classroom.
Great. Building on that is another question about they know that the MPA and MCD are designed to allow for flexibility with folks who work full time. Is it typical for students to pursue the MPP part time while working, or is it designed to be a fully immersive experience?
I would say that it was originally designed as a cohort model program. That said, over the last 3 to 4 years, the number of part-time students have increased, pretty steadily over every year. And students are, so I would say, let's assume a cohort has 15 students in it. I would assume, 3 to 5 of those students are going part-time. And what that looks like is you simply work with your advisor to craft out that plan. Our courses are offered in a sequential manner every semester. So by working with your advisor, you could craft out, okay, here's my plan. I'm going to take 1 or 2 courses this semester. These are the courses I'm taking. And then you move on to the spring. This is the next course in that sequence. So it is certainly manageable. We try to have our courses in the MPP program start after 3:30 in the afternoon, which allows for folks, to possibly leave work a little early and get in there. Some of them start later than that. The main difference is that all of our classes, right, in the MPA program, for example, they don't start until 6 at night. So the design was quite intentional with that. Whereas the MPP really splits the difference. We're trying to really cater to both of those students. And sometimes, it is slightly more challenging for the student that is working full time.
Thanks, Dan. Another question is, can I start any of these graduate programs in the summer, or can I only begin them in the fall?
You could start whenever you'd like. MCD, so the Masters of Community Development, is designed to start in the summer. So that would probably be the most challenging program to start randomly. That said, there are enough courses that you need to take that are out of sequence that we can get you rolling. The MPA, you could start whenever you want. The MPA is really easy to jump into. Because of its part-time nature, so many students are taking courses all over the place that it's easy for students to jump into a class and feel like they are a part of that program pretty immediately. And the MPP, you really can do it as well. The bulk of the MPP classes are offered during the fall and the spring. So the summer classes, starting in the summer, doesn't offer you that much opportunity. But you could certainly get rolling and start getting your credits moving forward. So yes, any one of our programs you could start at any point. I'd give the same advice as I did about the part-time MPP, which is just work with your advisor to kind of craft out what that schedule looks like and makes the most sense and would be the most helpful for you.
That's all the questions I see at this point, Dan. I'm not sure if anyone is still trying to work on one or.
Okay,
but,
so what I'll do is this. I'll just do this one more time. Just share that screen with everyone. So if you want to jot down some of our contact information, you could do that. And obviously, all of our contact information is available on our website. Please feel free to check out one of our pages. Please feel free to reach out to any one of us. We'll send you a follow-up email after this webinar, just so you have all of that in one place as well. It was a real pleasure speaking to all of you. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend about 20, 30 minutes with us. And we'll be in touch. We look forward to chatting with the rest of you. Take care.